Hello everyone, this is Neil from Edureka and welcome to this session on Java certification. Now without wasting any time, let's move forward and look at today's agenda. Now we'll begin by first having a simple discussion on what is Java and why take up a Java certification. After that we'll move in to see the various certifications provided for Java professionals from Oracle. You have your Java Certified Associate, Java Certified Professional, Expert and finally Java Certified Master. After that, towards the later half of this session, we'll be looking at the various Java job trends as well as I'll help you understand how Edureka's Java J2EE and SOA certification training can help you achieve these certifications. So any questions with respect to today's agenda? Okay, Tom is clear, so is Satya, Nirmal, Ajay, that's great to see. So let's move forward to the first topic of today's session, that is what is Java. Now, Java again was created by James Gosselin for Sun Microsystems in 1995 and is presently one of the most widely used programming languages. Now, if you see in the industry today, more than 50% of the programmers work with Java. Now, apart from that, one of the key features that made Java one of the most popular programming language was the logic of write once and run anywhere. So basically you could write your code once and then you could run it on any environment that supported Java virtual machine. So this could be your direct to home system, it could be a supercomputer that has Java environment there. So it can vary from machine to machine. As long as a Java environment is present there, you can run your application. Mainly there were three key features that also made Java quite popular because of its concurrency. You could execute multiple number of statements parallelly. Apart from that, Java is a class-based program, that is every code that you'll be writing would be part of a class. And finally, Java is one of the most popular object-oriented programming language. Now, with this introduction, let's move forward and try to understand why we need to do a Java certification. Mainly there are four key points and this is something that all of us look forward to. Now, the first key reason that most of us look for is for better job opportunities. Now, always certified professionals are preferred for projects, for new openings over non-certified professionals. Because again, certification is a good way to tell people that you have mastered a specific technology or you have standardized your knowledge with respect to that process. In this case, your Java programming language. Apart from that, better career. Now, when I talk about better career, in your career growth, always certification matters because when you are being considered to move up the chain, then your certification is something that will help you stand out from the other candidates. Apart from that, better salary. Now, if I have to tell you just with respect to numbers, certified professionals are paid somewhere between 40 to almost 80% extra when compared to non-certified employees. Not even when you're moving between companies, this is within the same organization, this difference comes in if you have a certification. And again, finally, when you talk about your hiring companies as well, most big companies definitely prefer certified professionals over non-certified professionals. So that is one of the key reasons that you can consider if you're planning to move into a huge organization where you get to have a lot of learning opportunities. So are we clear with respect to why we need to do a Java certification? Okay, Sandeep, James, Nirmal, Shubham. I see Mary is also joined in the session. Alright, so I've got a confirmation from almost everyone. So let's move forward and discuss the various Java certifications that are available provided from Oracle. Now, Oracle is the main body that is distributing Java as of now, even though it was originally created by Sun Microsystems, which was then taken over by Oracle. So presently, your most recognized certifications are provided from Oracle. Now, if you look at the image here, you can understand there are mainly four levels of certifications that matter. Now, your first certification is your Oracle Certified Associate, or better known as OCA. So here you have a single certification, that is the Oracle Certified Program. So again, based on the version, you have Oracle SE 5, 6, 7 or 8. Now I would definitely recommend that you go for Oracle version 8 exam itself because that is the latest exam as well as the most preferred exam as well. Now again, once you've completed this S certification, then you can move on to the next level, that is the professional level, where you actually have two options here. You have your option to take up the second level of programmer, and you can also consider your mobile application development. Now mobile application development are for those people who are looking to find job openings in organizations that work in mobile domain using Java. So this is something that will definitely help you if you're looking for a mobile developer job. Now, once you've completed this certification, the next level is the expert level. Now, in the expert level, there are mainly 5 certification exams, and each one actually plays an important role with respect to the various stages of our software development. So we'll talk about that in detail when we reach the stage. And finally, with respect to our Java certification roadmap comes the master level certification. Now mainly there are two types of certifications here. You have master level developer as well as you have your master level enterprise architect. Now this is one of the most important certifications that you can try and achieve in Java industry. This has a lot of value and is something that does not require you to have any of these certifications as a prerequisite. But don't misunderstand this to be an easy exam, because this involves multiple stages in the certification process. Now don't worry, we'll be discussing what you need to know to take up each of these exams as well as their structure in the upcoming slides. So with this, I hope you've got a simple idea of the various levels of Java certifications. Okay, so I've got a confirmation from everyone, so let me move forward and start with the first level of certification, that is the Oracle Certified Associate Programmer. Now this is also known as 100808 certification and is one of the most fundamental certification that you can take up. Now one thing I'd like to bring to your attention is, if you go back to this roadmap, so here your first two level of certification is with respect to your Oracle Standard Edition. After that, when you come to the expert level, this is with respect to your Oracle Enterprise Edition certification. So again, it makes a difference with respect to how you're looking for your job opportunities. So if you want to have a high paying industry job, then I definitely would recommend that you take up the first two levels and also try to achieve the third level, that is the expert level. Now again, coming back, now your certified associate programmer has 80 questions that you need to complete, and the time limit is 50 minutes. Now when we say 50 minutes, it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. So here your passing score is 65%. Now when you say 65% of 80, that basically means that you need to get 52 questions correct. Now keep that number in mind always, because before you attempt any exam, you need to have a clear-cut idea how many you need to get correct, and there's no negative marking here, so you do not need to worry about losing marks with respect to that. And finally, when you come down to the price, now in Indian rupees it's 10,100 and in US dollars it's 300 US dollars. Now coming down to what you need to know before you take out this exam, basically these are the key topics that you need to be completely aware before you go ahead and take up the certification exam. Now your certification exam is a multiple choice based question paper. So again, you need to have a very clear-cut idea in these domains. Now talking about these domains, firstly you have Java fundamentals that mainly talk about the various features, the changes that has come into Java. So these are some questions that are asked with respect to Java fundamentals. Apart from that, you have your data type knowledges, the various primitive data types as well as the advanced data types that you can use as part of your Java programs. Then you have the various data operators as well as working with arrays. Now again, when you talk about arrays, it could be single dimensional, multi-dimensional array using some inbuilt functions, modifying and performing different operations. Now after that, you have loop statements. You mainly have three kinds of loop. You have while loop, do while loop, and for loop. And then you also have enhanced loops with respect to that. So you need to be completely aware of these kinds of loops. Then you have methods and encapsulation. Now, what are the different kinds of methods that you can use? How does method help you achieve polymorphism as well as encapsulation? These questions can be expected in this domain. Then you have inheritance, where you have your inheriting a base class, you could be inheriting interface, and so forth. And finally, you have exceptional handling here. Now when we talk about exceptional handling, this is something that you will be seeing across all the certification exam, but always remember how you make. Now in this certification exam, it's mainly how you deal with basic exceptionals. So when you talk about Java basics domain itself, so here you basically need to understand how to work with variables, how you'll be defining various scopes of variables, and then you need to understand how the structure of a class is. Basically this is some of the simple concepts that you need to be aware. And this is something that you'll definitely learn while you're working with Java itself. And then you need to also know how to work with various packages, the standard packages that are available to you in Java, as well as you need to understand the various features and their advantages as well as disadvantages in Java. Then the next domain is your Java data types, how you can declare and initialize variables of different data types. Then you have even object reference variable and primitive variable, how they are different with respect to each other, how to work with various objects, and even the object lifecycle. Then when you come down to the next topic, you have operators as well as decision constructors. Here basically you need to be aware of the various operators. There is no fixed weightage that is assigned to each of these domains as such, but you need to invest equal time in these domains as well. So there could be questions that could be theoretical as well as certain questions that have multiple answers. You could even have to correct the errors in a code and also predict the output of certain code. This is a standard structure that is applicable across the different domains of the certification exam. But this is not just for this certification exam. All the levels of Java certification exam except your master level certification exam follows the same trend. And finally, even again we have talked about arrays as well. When here you need to be aware of how to declare, instantiate as well as initialize single dimensional and multi-dimensional array. Then moving forward, you need to be aware with respect to the various loops. Again, while, do while, for, enhance for, you need to be aware how your break statement works, how your continue statement works, and so forth. You also need to be aware there could also be a program that will involve all these loops where you have use of multiple breaks and continue, and you need to predict how the output goes. So always try to play around with your code when you're learning Java itself. So in your fundamentals itself, always go beyond what is taught to you and explore this. That is one of the key ways how you can ace the certification exam. Again, when you come down to methods, you need to understand how you can create as well as work with different kinds of methods, how static keywords actually work with respect to methods and fields. You need to be aware of with respect overloading concept that you come across, as well as the various access modifiers that are associated to the functions in a class. Finally, with respect to inheritance, you need to understand what are the different types of inheritance, how polymorphism also works with inheritance, the concept of casting, how does that work when you're inheriting multiple classes, and finally the use as well as how to create various abstract classes and interfaces. Then comes your exceptional handling. Now here basically you need to be aware of the basic exceptions that you can come across, how you can handle them, your try-catch block, how the structure works. Here there could also be a question related to your final keyword, as well as one of the basic things that is expected from you here is to know the basic difference between a checked, unchecked exception as well as an error as such. So there could be a question where they show you a certain code and ask you to identify whether it's a checked, unchecked or an error that would be coming from this code. So you need to always make sure you have read the code completely, analyzed it completely, and then only go ahead and answer your question. Don't be in a hurry to just make a conclusion. Not all things are easy as it seems. So are you clear with respect to these domains and what is expected from you in this certification exam? Okay, so I've got a confirmation from everyone. Now moving forward, the next level of Java certification exam is the Certified Professional Program. Now this is also known as 100809. So this is something that is an advanced of your associate level program, and you need to complete your associate level program to go ahead and take the professional level programmer certification. Now here you basically have 85 questions, but you get 150 minutes with respect to this. Same here, you need to have a 65% score to pass the certification exam. So basically you need to get at least 55 questions correct out of your 85 questions. Again, your price is the same with respect to both. Now language is always English. I'll also be telling you how you can achieve the vouchers for these exams. Let me just show you that. If you open your browser and go to education.oracle, this is the home page for Oracle's training website. Now here if you go to the certification tab, you can see the various certification programs. Now if you go inside view all option, so here you can see all the certifications provided by Oracle. Now if you go down here you can find Java and middleware. Now your Java SC basically is your associate as well as your professional certification program. So here you can see SC7 Programmer 1 and SC7 Programmer 2. Now this is not the certification exam that I would recommend to you. This is something that mainly is associated with Java 7. So if you're looking to take up a certification, I'd recommend you to take up Java SE8 Programmer 1 and Java SE8 Programmer 2. So this is your associate level programmer and this is your professional level programmer. Now here let's go inside this. So here you have your complete details with respect to your Java professional level programmer, and for you to register for your program, in your left you can see the option of take exam. Now if you open the tab, you have the option to buy this voucher. Now once you've bought the voucher, you can redeem it within 6 months. So basically you need to give your details with respect to this, and once you've got the voucher, then you can go to Pearson VUE's website and schedule your exam. So here what you need to do is go to the for test takers tab, specify the program that you want to take. Also you need to make sure that you have registered for this website, and then you need to provide your exam. So if you just take a look at this video, it will give you a complete idea on what to do with respect to your exam voucher. So any doubts with respect to this? Okay, so Ajay has a question here. Ajay is asking me about the retake policy. Okay, that's a good thing that you brought in now, Ajay. Now basically, if you fail the first exam, which I'm quite sure none of you would be failing. Yes, Shruti, I'm confident on my students. Don't worry. Now again, if you do not clear the certification exam in your first attempt, basically you can retake the exam after 14 days. That basically means that you can re-register for the exam after 14 days, where you need to pay the complete amount. But at times what Oracle does is they give this promotional offer where you get a free retest with your registration, but you need to check that while you're registering for the exam. So by default they do not do that, but at times they do have this promotional offer, and apart from that you can only do 4 retakes in a span of 12 months. That is, in a year you can only write the exam 4 times. Okay, I hope that was clear, Ajay. Alright Ajay, that's great to hear. Now moving forward, let's discuss the blueprint of the exam. So these are the basic concepts that you need to be aware of before you go ahead and take up the certification exam. First comes your class design. So basically you need to understand how to design various classes where each of the variables would be coming, where the method comes, how you're going to be writing them. So basically the various structures as well as the possibilities that you can play around with respect to classes. Then comes your concept of generics and collections. So again, collections basically refers to your collection framework. So this is one of the key concepts that you need to be aware of before you take up the certification exam. That is the professional level program. Then you need to be aware of lambdas. Now lambdas is one of the new features that was added in Java 8. So if you are taking a certification that is associated to Java 8, then this is one of the key new features that you need to be aware of. Lambdas basically helps you write generic functions and generic codes. Then you need to be aware of on how you can work around with respect to stream APIs. Now this is also another interesting and important topic. And then comes your exceptions and assertions. So I had told you that your first level, that is the associate level, you need to be aware of exceptions but on a basic level. But here you need to understand how you can work with respect to different exceptions, the exception class, how you can be able to manage exceptions thrown by objects and so forth. Basically your exception overriding also comes here. Then comes your file input output. So again, all your file operations, related operations comes in this section. After that you have concurrency. So basically this concept deals with your fundamental knowledge on how you can achieve concurrency with respect to Java. Again, there your concept of thread comes into picture. Finally, you need to understand the concept of localization as well. So these are the key concepts that you need to be aware of before you take up the Java professional level certification program. Now if you talk about the different domains in class design concepts, again your concept of access modifiers, overriding, overloading comes into picture. Then you need to understand how to use virtual methods, as well as have a simple understanding of how an abstract class is, when to use it, when not to use it. So again, when you talk about codes, there will be certain questions that will ask you if this is the right way to write this code, or is there any correction required. So again, here they could give you a program that has certain abstract class where it is not going to be used as well. So you need to understand as well as make a correction with respect to that code there. Another key concept that you need to concentrate here is the enumeration types. So enumeration types is also one of the fundamental knowledge that you need to have if you're going to attempt this section. Now always prioritize which all sections you would be completing first, and then try to make a risk there. So have a clear-cut idea. To do that, you need to understand which are your strong points and then analyze. Now let's say if you are trying to achieve 65%, then you need to at least attempt about 80%. So keep that at least in your mind, and then only will you be able to achieve that 65%. Ajay, definitely you should try for 100%, but I was just being on a safer side. I would definitely be happy if you get a 100% score, Ajay. Alright, we will be definitely checking up on that. Okay, do keep me posted. Alright. Okay, the next topic is generics and collections. Now again, you need to understand how to create generic classes, when to create it, why are they used, is it a right syntax. So you need to have a very strong fundamental knowledge. Again, when you talk about collections, when are the collection types used, the concept of wrapping, how boxing concept works, boxing, unboxing, your lists, sets and dequeues, as well as your maps. These are key interfaces present in your collection framework. So you need to understand how they work, the various classes that inherit these interfaces and so forth. Okay, as well as some array based operations. So sometimes what they do is they give you certain questions with respect to array. So again, if you have a good knowledge with respect to algorithms, this is something that you can definitely work around with, as well as there are a lot of inbuilt functions with respect to your array list as well. How you can sort, how you can add elements dynamically. So here sometimes what happens is code correction. That is, if there's a wrong syntax given, then you need to write the right syntax. Okay. Alright, so after that you have your exceptions. Now again, here you need to understand the difference between throw and throws, and then you need to be also clear on how you can write multiple catch block, which is going to be called your finally statement, as well as you need to be able to create custom exceptions. That is, if you know certain case is going to go wrong, then if there is no standard exception present, you need to create a custom exception. So you need to have a complete understanding of how to create a custom exception, how it makes a difference, how it works as well to take this up. Finally comes your file input output operation. So these are your standard operations that you will be working around with. How to operate a file, how to change the directory, basically perform various modification operation with respect to the file, how to open that file, how to read and write simultaneously, how to create a directory tree. One more key thing is your path matcher class also. So how to work with respect to path matcher class, as well as identify if there are certain changes that work in the folder. So using the watch service. So watch service helps you understand if there's any modification that has happened, and once that is done, you can perform the required operations as such. Okay? Alright. So then you have your concurrency, how to achieve concurrency in Java. You even have Java util concurrency collection. So there's a separate collection itself in your util package. Atomic variables, that is one key concept that you should never miss out on. How to achieve parallel processing using fork and join framework. And then when you move on to the last topic, that is your localization. Here basically you need to have a complete understanding with respect to IOCPLE. Basically your localization here, you need to understand how you have a resource bundle, how to include it in your application, how to use it as part of your application. Then you have your number format and date format that comes with respect to that, as well as how to even build a resource bundle as such. So you need to have a clear-cut idea with respect to the same. So I hope with this you guys have a good understanding on how the Oracle professional level exam would go around. Santosh is clear, so is Ajay, John, Nirmal. Mary is also clear. That's good to see. Even though she's joined late, she's keeping up. That's great, Mary. So at any point, if you're not clear, anything that you want me to help you understand better, let me know. Okay, that's great. Now comes your next level of certification program. Now, Oracle Expert Level Certification Program is something that you need to do if you need a certification in your Enterprise Edition section. So basically when you talk about the certification exam, the number of questions as well as the time limit associated with it. This is something that varies from exam to exam. So in this level basically you have 4 major certifications, and most of them have a standard passing score of 65%. Now the price with respect to all of them is constant of $300 or 10,100 Indian rupees. Now again, when you talk about the expert level certification, as I have discussed, you have mainly 4 level of expert certification. So these 4 basically are your layers as such with respect to your Java application. Each certification helps you become a expert in that layer of Java application. Your first comes your web layer, then you have your business logic, data access and deployment. Associated for each of these layers is a certification exam. Now if you look at the web layer itself, now there you basically have the certification exam, that is the Oracle Certified Expert Java Enterprise Edition Web Component Developer. So all your web layer applications, if you are a master in that domain, then this is the certification for you. Then when you talk about business logic domain, this basically deals with your Java Beans development. So that certification exam is your Oracle Certified Expert, again Java Enterprise Edition Java Beans developer. Then comes your data access layer. So here your knowledge with respect to your persistent API, how to connect with database, how to work with different database. So that is what your Oracle Certified Expert Java Persistent API Developer certification does. And finally, when you look at the last certification exam that deals with your deployment, that is your Oracle Certified Expert Java Web Services Developer. Okay. So we'll be discussing about each of these certification exams one by one, starting off with respect to your Oracle Certified Expert Web Component Developer, that is your web related program. Now, to give you a simple idea with respect to this certification exam, this exam basically is a 140-minute exam. So here basically you get about 57 questions, of which you need to get a passing score of 65%. Now the pricing with respect to the certification exam is same, it's a 10,100 or 300 US dollars. And as to what you need to know before you take up this certification exam, you need to understand how to work with web application essentials, how it works around, how to play around with respect to servlets, your JSP, your MVC design. Again, when you talk about web applications, how to manage various web applications, how they interact, how to handle with respect to the errors that comes in, how to provide security to your web applications. Then comes your servlet concept, and finally you also need to understand how custom tags are created and how to work around with them. So I hope you guys are clear with respect to the web component developer certification exam. Okay, Nirmal's asking me, do I need any prerequisites for this exam? Definitely, Nirmal. So you need to have completed your associate level programmer certification. Then you also need to have to complete your professional level certification exam. Does that answer your question, Nirmal? Alright. Now, talking about your next certification exam, you have your Java Certified Expert Enterprise Java Beans Developer. So if you remember correctly, this is a certification exam that mainly deals with respect to your business logics. Now, talking about the format of this exam, this certification exam basically is for 110 minutes and you need to have at least 73% with respect to the 60 questions that are provided to you. This actually requires you to have a better passing score when you compare to the other exams that we have discussed till now. Now when we say 73% of 60, that comes to close to about 44 answers out of 60. This is not a hard score to clear and quite sure most of you would be able to do this. So if you're looking for a very good career with respect to your business logic, this is a good domain for you to grow on in the industry. So this is the certification that you need to concentrate after you've completed your professional level certification. So here again, when you talk about what you need to know before you take up the exam, you need to understand what a bean is, what is a session bean, what is a message driven bean. You need to understand how to work with various transaction related operations. Again, your concept of dependency injection comes into picture. Then you need to understand how to use the various time services provided to you, as well as some amount of knowledge with respect to your persistent API is also expected. Are we clear with respect to the Java Beans developer certification? Alright. So as we have discussed, we've talked about the web services, we've talked about our web layer, then we moved on to the business logic layer, and then your next layer is something that deals with your data access. So to quote one of my good friends, your data access layer basically is your plunging system. So all the data that is coming, all that you have created comes to your data access layer, and this is where you need to work it out. So with respect to your data access layer, the certification exam is Java Enterprise Edition Persistent API Developer. So this is the certification exam that you need to concentrate if you're more interested with respect to your database operations as well as your data access operations. Now to talk about this format of the certification exam, this certification exam basically has 65 questions of which you need to get at least 60% correct. An exam that goes on for about 135 minutes. That basically is your 2 hours and 15 minutes as such. Now coming back, if you need to get 60% of 65, That basically means you need to get at least 39 questions correct with respect to your 65 questions. So always when you know your passing score, make sure you have prioritized which domain you're going to concentrate more on. Okay. Now here basically you need to know how to work with respect to your Java Persistence API. Then you need to understand what a Java Persistent API does with respect to your Java Enterprise Edition. You also need to understand how to work with respect to your databases, relational databases actually, using your Java Persistent API. You need to know how to use your entity manager as well as your auction application. Now auction application is a standard application, so you need to understand how it works. Then comes your concept of enumerations and collections in your Java Persistence API as such. And if you are using your Java Persistent API, then you also need to understand the Java Persistence query language. That is a query language through which you'll be accessing your details in your database through your Persistent API. And finally, one of the other key features you need to know before you attempt is your criteria API. And a criteria API is something that plays a very vital role. So you need to understand how it works, what is its major role, as well as the correct syntax for performing different operations using the criteria API. So I hope you guys are clear with respect to the persistent API certification. Okay. Now moving forward with respect to your expert level certification, the last one that we'll be discussing is your web services developer. This mainly is helpful for professionals who are working with respect to the deployment side. And when we talk about the exam, now the duration of this exam is slightly lower when you compare to the other expert level certifications. So this basically is an exam that has a time duration of 90 minutes where you have 55 questions to answer. Now in that 55 questions you need to get at least 65% correct. And when you say 65% of 55, so that basically means you need to get at least 36 questions correct. Okay. Now again, one thing that I want to clear is the pricing with respect to these certification exams are same throughout. It's just the difference with respect to the different certification exams that you want to specialize on. So based on which domain you want to specialize on, you can go ahead and choose your expert level certification. And few things that you need to be aware of before you go ahead with respect to the certification exam is your web services, how to work with different XMLs, your SOAP web services, as well as your RESTful web services, how to create various services using the RESTful API, how they function, how they interact with respect to that, how to handle various web services related errors, as well as the security with respect to your web services. Now with this we've come to a conclusion with respect to our expert level certifications. So any doubts with respect to the 4 expert level certifications that we have discussed? Okay, Mary has a question here. Mary is asking me if I can do all 4 certifications. Definitely, Mary. If you want to become a complete expert, then definitely I would recommend that you do all 4 certification exams. So that will actually give a huge impact when someone's looking at your resume, because when I sit down to a panel and I see a certification exam, when I see a certification as part of a candidate's resume, definitely it gives me a good understanding of his standards. But if I see that you've taken multiple certification exams, then basically it helps me understand that this person knows the complete process and how the different layers work out. So definitely that is a clear cut and a straightforward indication that I should hire you. And there are very good chances also that you will get better opportunities than what you're looking for. So if you do that, definitely it will be really helpful for you. Any other questions? Okay, so let's move forward to the final level of certification that is provided from Oracle, that is your master level certification program. So your master level certification program requires you to attempt an exam that has 60 questions and you need to get a passing score of 71. Now there is a time limit of 150 minutes, but what you need to understand that is it's just the structure of a single exam that you would be appearing for. There are mainly 4 processes that you need to follow. Now before that, the price of the exam remains same. It's 10,100 or 300 US dollars, and the language is always same as English. Now, talking about the process that you need to follow to get a master level certification is basically there are 4 steps that you need to follow. Now, although your master level certification does not require you to have any of the previous certifications that we have discussed, but you need to complete at least one of these 8 trainings from Oracle University. And the certificate would be validated before you go ahead and appear for the exam. Now, we've discussed the pattern for the exam and how it is going to be following. So basically again 60 questions where you need to get 71 marks. Once you've completed that, you need to move ahead and work with the assignment. Now in the assignment, what you need to do is that you need to create an application that involves with the various components that you have learned as part of your training. Once that is done, then you need to write an essay justifying why you have used these components for your application. Now, this is a quite easy step, but you need to understand that if you fail at any point here, you can always retake the exam as well. So in case of your assignment as well as your essay, you can always resubmit them. So with this, we've come to a conclusion of the different certifications that Oracle provides for a Java professional. But let me just show you how you can attend these exams. Now, if you go back to our Oracle page here, so you can see with respect to the different certification programs here. So whichever certification program that you want to do. Now, let's say if you want to take up the master level certification program, just click on this certification. You'll get a pop-up like this. You can come down. You can see all the details with respect to this exam. And if you want to buy the exam voucher, then all you need to do is click on Take Exam tab, and here you have the option to buy the voucher. Once you have bought the voucher, you need to understand that this is valid only for 6 months. So within that time, what you need to do is that you need to schedule your exam from pearsonview.com website. And once you've registered there, it's time you start making your plan. So with this, we've talked about the different certifications that Oracle provides for a Java professional. Let's move forward and look at the job perspectives for a Java professional in the industry today. If you look at the numbers here, these are basically the job postings in India and US as on 15th March. Now, if you look at India, on the average side, you basically have about 30 to 35,000 job openings at present. So this is not at all a small number. When you look at the programming environment, this is one of the hugest market that you can see. So this in itself should give you an idea why you need to pick up. And if you are a certified professional, that basically is a cherry on top of the cake, which makes it easier for the recruiters also to identify you, as well as it makes your overall recruitment process easier. So till here we've discussed about the various certifications that you can achieve, but let me help you understand how Edureka can help you achieve these certifications without much worries. Now there's no hard prerequisite that you cannot take up the Java, you cannot start your experience with respect to Java programming language, but it is recommended that if you have some knowledge with respect to a programming language, how they interact, how the various key features are met with respect to object-oriented programming and so forth. That is the simple prerequisite, but this is not a hard prerequisite that only if you know these concepts can you go ahead and pick up Java. If you look at the present scenario, most programmers actually begin their knowledge from Java itself. When we talk about how Edureka's training is structured across. Now we've completely structured our training so that you can have a complete understanding with respect to the Java domain, as well as making it easy for you to go ahead and take up the certification exam. So we basically start off with a basic as well as an advanced understanding with respect to your core Java. That is, we'll first begin laying down a very good foundation and only then help you move into the ocean of Java. After that, we'll be talking about how you can use the various packages, standard packages that are there, as well as all the packages that you can work around to achieve a certain required result. And then comes the concept of multi-threading, how threads work, how it helps you increase concurrency. So all that you will be learning in this section. Then comes your collection part, how your collection framework works, what is a set, what is a map, what is a list, all that comes actually in this section. After that, we're going to talk about a few key concepts like XML file handling, XML file operations. Then you have your JDBC operations, that is your Java database connectivity operations, how you can connect with respect to different databases and so forth. Then we'll be mainly be talking about your web application, where we'll be looking at servlets as well as JSP concepts. Once you've got a clear idea with respect to this, we'll be talking about the various Java frameworks that are being used in the industry. Mainly we'll be giving you an introduction with respect to Spring and Hibernate as part of the course. So finally we'll be talking also about SOA, how SOA is an important feature and how you can implement SOA in your projects as well. No training is actually complete without a validation process. And with Edureka, you are validated based on your project that you will be submitting. So once you have submitted your project, it is going to be checked by a panel of experts who will then decide a grade for your project. And once that's set, your certificate would be created and then it will be provided in your LMS. If you want, you can even attach it to your LinkedIn profile as well. Now, talking about the project that you'll be working on, this basically is dealing with respect to your banking domain, where you have to go ahead and create a complete web application that performs certain operations as required by the user. Now, basically this project is divided into 5 modules, and this is a topic that will extensively be discussed in your last class. So there the instructor will be able to assist you and give you a clear-cut idea of what is needed with respect to your project, and he'll also be able to guide you in case you get stuck at any point while you're creating the final project. Now comes the very important question on how to prepare for these exams. Now we've talked about the various exams, but you might be wondering how I can clear this. Now the first thing is practice, practice, practice. There is no other way apart from hard work to achieve this, because you need to be able to write hundreds and thousands of lines of code to perform certain operations. So until and unless you've practiced these codes, will you not be able to clear with respect to the same. So always make sure you have sufficient practice before you take up the exam. Then comes your resource and guide. Now, as we have talked about Java, Java is a completely open source programming language, so anyone can use it. So you have various details with respect to the certification exam present online, so make sure you completely use them to build your knowledge with respect to that certification. Now, deep diving and making quick notes. Now, this is something that has helped most participants. As you're learning, make quick notes. Now, quick study notes are something that will definitely come into handy in your last moment. So, when you want to revise what you've learned in maybe 2 days before your exam, then these notes will definitely come into hand. So, make sure you create quick study notes simultaneously while you're learning the concepts. Now, skill set inventory. When I say about skill set inventory, this basically means improving your knowledge with respect to Java programming. Now, Java is a very big ocean that cannot be explored in a day or two. So always try new things, improve your knowledge with respect to what is present, and go ahead and explore beyond your limits. Practice test sets. Now, there are a lot of websites that provide you with respect to different practice sets for your certification exam. Apart from that, you also have various free resources which will give you sample test papers. So always try out your luck with respect to sample tests before you go ahead and give your actual certification exam. Finally is plan your schedule. Now, the reason I'm talking about plan your schedule is because mainly your exam voucher that is issued to you is only valid for 6 months. Apart from that, once you have fixed a schedule for your exam, that is once you've gone ahead and booked a date to give your exam, then it will be easier for you to structure your revision and have a perfect timetable to achieve that as well. Now, to summarize what we have learned in today's session, we started off by first understanding what is Java, then we moved on to understand why we need to do a certification, and then we saw the various Java certifications as to what you need to know before you take up the certification, what is the structure of the certification exam, as well as we deep dive into what you need to understand with respect to different domains of the exam. From there we saw the current job market for Java professionals, and then we talked about how Edureka can help you achieve these certification exams. Finally, we discussed on how to prepare for these certifications. So I hope you guys are clear with respect to today's session. Any doubts with any of the topics that we have discussed? Okay, so I have got a confirmation from everyone. Everyone's clear. That's great to hear. Now, in conclusion, I hope this session has given you complete insight with respect to the various Java certifications, as well as how helpful and important it is in the Java market at present. With that, we end today's session. Hope you had a great time. Thank you and goodbye.
I hope you enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply to them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to our Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!